my street. My neighbours are wondering if we're now in the line of fire of some extortionist. Wow. Surrey's Mayor Brenda Locke is asking this government to declare a state of emergency. Conservatives are asking, will this government stop with the rhetoric, restore mandatory minimums, and repeal their catch and release laws so criminals feel the consequences?
Here. The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Sounds like a good idea.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives need to decide whether they're going to help us stop extortions or whether they're going to obstruct us giving law enforcement the tools they need in order to prevent these crimes from happening.
That's right.
Mr. Speaker, right now it takes about 6 months for police agencies to connect a phone number to an IP address or to a person, to a criminal, Mr. Speaker. But these Conservatives are against supporting our lawful access measures, which would give law enforcement these exact tools. Which side are they on, Mr. Speaker? I hope they vote with us when we put this bill to Parliament.
The Honourable Member for Vaughan Woodbridge.
York Region Police recently arrested a man accused of extorting a Vaughan resident for 7 years through threats and violence. Extortion is not a talking point. It's impacting real Canadians. Now Liberals are spreading falsehoods. Let's look at bail reform. The Liberals tabled bail changes October 23rd. We agreed to send the bill to committee on November 18th, and until yesterday, they sidelined public safety to attack freedom of expression. So, will the Liberal government stop their obstruction and work with Conservatives to restore mandatory minimums for extortion and repeal catch and release laws Bill C5 and C75?
Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, we are talking about catching these criminals. In order to catch these criminals, the police need the tools to do so. They need to be able to connect IP addresses and phone numbers to the criminals, which the Conservatives are obstructing and stopping from passing in this House. We brought lawful access measures, Mr. Speaker, to this Parliament in June, yet they've been obstructing those measures all along. Whose side are they on? Will they help our law enforcement and police officers with catching these criminals, Mr. Speaker?
The Honourable Member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Federal Court of Appeal has once again affirmed that this Liberal government broke the most supreme law in this country, the Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, when it wrongly used the Emergencies Act, and also that it violated the Charter rights of Canadians by freezing the bank accounts of political protesters and limiting the legal right to protest. If this truly is a new government, will they say to Canadians right now that they will accept this ruling, uphold the civil liberties of Canadians, and not appeal this to the Supreme Court?
Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, as a proud resident of the National Capital Region, I can only but lament this member's repeated, and I will give him this, he's been consistent on this, his repeated endorsement of the occupation of this downtown, of the disturbance and unbelievable annoyance that this created for residents of downtown Ottawa, and of the fact that it was an unlawful demonstration, Mr. Speaker, that ultimately was ended by the good graces and very Canadian model of cooperative law enforcement, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Peterborough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Monday, the Prime Minister announced new measures to put money back in the pockets of Canadians, including the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, which I know will mean a great deal to my constituents in Peterborough and Canadians across the country. It also included new measures to improve our domestic production and enhance food security in Canada. As a farmer, I can't stress enough just how important this is. Now more than ever, Canadians want food made and produced right here in Canada. Can the Minister of Agriculture please explain what Monday's announcement will mean for our producers and for security in Canada?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate my honourable colleague's question. She gets it as a farmer, Mr. Speaker. Canadians want access to Canadian-grown food, and our world-class farmers, producers and ranchers are ready to deliver. On Monday, our new government announced immediate expensum for greenhouse buildings. This will allow producers to fully write off greenhouses that become available for use before 2030. We are developing a national food security strategy, investing $20 million into a local food infrastructure fund, and much more. Simply put, Mr. Speaker, we're improving affordability for more than 12 million Canadians and building a more domestic, resilient food system here at home. I hope the Conservatives can agree.
The honourable member for Cowichan, Malahat, Langford.
Mr. Speaker, forestry families on Vancouver Island are struggling. The Crofton Mill closed, the Atlee Mill closed, Chemainus Mill curtailed to the end of 2026. Hundreds and hundreds of jobs are lost, but more importantly, already struggling families are now facing dire consequences. This government's handouts and subsidies are not helping those affected and will not save this critical and renewable resource industry. When will the Prime Minister deliver on his promised softwood lumber trade deal?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
The closure of a mill is a difficult news, whether it's on Vancouver Island or all across the country. It's a difficult news for workers, their family, and the community. The federal government has come forward with support for the sector. We urge the provincial government to work with us as partner to protect these jobs.
I've been putting up with a lot of loud noise coming from my left, but I had to call it out now because I'm having trouble hearing the honourable member. So the honourable member from the top, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We really, it's a difficult news, the closure of any mills, whether it's on Vancouver Island or anywhere in the country. And we've come forward with a lot of support from a financial perspective. We work with the provincial government as partner to protect these. And they may have missed the news that we announced a forest sector transformation task force by the industry. They've already met and they're formulating recommendations for the government for the future. We will continue to examine every option available. I urge the member to work with us on those.
The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And my questions to the Honourable President of the Treasury Board. With massive cuts being made to our civil service, how can the government justify threats to public health and safety as outlined today by the Public Service Alliance of Canada? Specifically in my community, we're very concerned as across a number of departments, believe it or not, workers involved in marine emergency response to oil spills have all been laid off. How does the government justify this?
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Le President, I thank my honourable colleague for her question. Canada's new government is taking a responsible approach to renewing the public service, focus on efficiency, sustainability, and respect for those who serve Canadians. New incentives are being introduced to support workforce renewals and to manage adjustments primarily through voluntary measures. Budget 2025 also proposes a measures reduction in up to 1,000 executive positions over the next 2 years to ensure leadership structure remain aligned with operational needs. Thank you.
I wish to draw the attention of members to the presence in the gallery of the Honourable Miles McDougall, Minister of Advanced Education for Alberta. I believe the member for Kamloops, Thompson Nicola, has a point of order.
Just gonna wait till it calms down.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Speaker, there have been discussions among the parties, and if you seek it, I
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my understanding is the petition is supposed to be read right now after a question period. So Perhaps I'll have to look around. I don't know if perhaps they just don't live stream that part. That would be terrible. Let me take a look around here. I'll be right with you. Little known fact, I have more viewers and far more subscribers and far more views than the Parliament of Canada. That's that's a feather in my cap, ladies and gentlemen. But they have more lifetime views, but I'm coming up on them. I will surpass them soon, I hope. You know, meaningless little trivia there. Question period. Proceedings. Okay, how about this one? Is this live though? I don't think this is live. We need live. Okay, how about that? Let's try this. No? It's the same thing I've got right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a shame if the reading of Petition E6679 were not to be broadcast live. That would be terrible. Let me see what Fed Sanchez has to say about all this. Fed might know. Well, if anybody knows, Fed Sanchez will know. You know what I'll do? I will invite Fed onto this live stream. Maybe he'll know. I invited him, and he was going to join me after it was read. Mm-hmm. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I beg your indulgence. Maybe this just won't work. Maybe there's no live stream of the reading.
Que tous ceux qui s'opposent à la motion.
All those opposed to the motion will please rise.
No. Monsieur McKinnon Gatineau.
Mr. Ali.
Mr. Ali.
Madame Diab.
Madame Diab.
Mr. McDonald Malpec.
Mr. McDonald Malpec.
Mr. Robertson.
Mr. Robertson.
Ms. DeBruson.
Mr. Bruson.
Monsieur Champagne.
Mr. Champagne.
Ms. Thompson.
Ms. Thompson.
Ms. Haidu.
Ms. Haidu.
Madame Michel.
Madame Michel.
Mr. Cedar Brampton East.
Mr. Cedar Brampton East.
Ms. Ojevsky.
Ms. Ojevsky.
Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon.
Mrs. Valdez.
Mrs. Valdez.
Monsieur Duclos.
Monsieur Duclos.
Mr. Hussein.
Mr. Hussein.
Miss Gould.
Ms. Gould.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Madame Petitpas-Taylor.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Mr. Wilkinson.
Miss Chagger.
Miss Chagger.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Fragiscatos.
Mr. Fragiscatos.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Miss Gainey.
Ms. Gainey.
Madame Provost.
Madame Provost.
Miss Sahota.
Miss Sahota.
Mr. Belanger, Destinati Mississippi, Churchill River.
Mr. Belanger, Destinati Mississippi, Churchill River.
Miss McKnight.
Miss McKnight.
Miss Chartrand.
Miss Chartrand.
Mr. Garrettson.
Mr. Garrettson.
Miss Alty.
Miss Alty.
Mrs. Galmasty.
Mrs. Galmasty.
Mr. Sarai.
Mr. Sarai.
Miss McLean Esquimalt Saanich Suk.
Miss McLean Esquimalt Saanich Suk.
Madame Chenette.
Madame Chenette.
Mr. Nagvi.
Mr. Nagvi.
Mr. Housefather.
Mr. Housefather.
Madame Minard.
Madame Minard.
Miss Jazik.
Miss Jazik.
Mr. Beach.
Mr. Beach.
Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Fisher.
Madame Châtel.
Madame Châtel.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mrs. Romanado.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Lewis Kitchener-Conestoga.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Assassi.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant.
Monsieur Litao.
Monsieur Litao.
Mr. Bardisi.
Mr. Bardisi.
Madame Kayabaga.
Madame Kayabaga.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Mr. Lamoureux.
Madame Brière.
Madame Brière.
Monsieur Gay.
Monsieur Gay.
Mr. Hogan.
Mr. Hogan.
Madame Koutrakis.
Madame Koutrakis.
Miss Chi.
Miss Chi.
Mr. Miles.
Mr. Miles.
Monsieur Cormier.
Monsieur Cormier.
Miss Zerowitz.
Miss Zerowitz.
Those lines
Monsieur
on.
Elcoury.
Monsieur Coury.
Monsieur Fergus.
Monsieur Fergus.
Mr. Fonseca.
Mr. Fonseca.
Monsieur Yacono.
Monsieur Yacono.
Miss Suds.
Miss Suds.
Madame Desrochers.
Madame Desrochers.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mrs. McKelvey.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Gasparo.
Mr. Hanley.
Mr. Hanley.
Madame Rochefort.
Madame Rochefort.
Mr. Casey.
Mr. Casey.
Madame Bandayan.
Madame Bendayan.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Classen.
Mr. Classen.
Madame Lavac.
Madame Lavac.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Monsieur Ramsey.
Miss Church.
Miss Church.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. McKinnon, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam.
Mr. Morrissey.
Mr. Morrissey.
Miss Vandenbelt.
Miss Vandenbelt.
Mrs. Zaid.
Mrs. Zaid.
Miss Yip.
Ms. Yip.
Mr. Baker.
Mr. Baker.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Monsieur d'Entremont.
Mr. Pulowski.
Mr. Pulowski.
Monsieur Zuberi.
Monsieur Zuberi.
Mr. Ailson.
Monsieur Ailson.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
Madame Lapointe, Rivière-des-Mille-Îles.
Mr. Coteau.
Mr. Coteau.
Miss Hefner.
Miss Hefner.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Madame Lapointe, Sudbury.
Mr. Sousa.
Mr. Sousa.
Miss Akan.
Ms. Akan.
Mr. Al Saoud.
Monsieur Al Saoud.
Madame Auguste.
Madame Auguste.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Chang.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Clark.
Mr. Connors.
Mr. Connors.
Madame Dandurand.
Madame Dandurand.
Mr. Danko.
Mr. Danko.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Monsieur Deschênes-Thériault.
Mr. Earl.
Mr. Earl.
Miss Fancy.
Miss Fancy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Fanjoy.
Mr. Greaves.
Mr. Greaves.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Harrison.
Miss Hurtle.
Miss Hurtle.
Monsieur Joseph.
Monsieur Joseph.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. McDonald Cardigan.
Mr. Mallet, Bay of Dave Quinty.
Mr. Millett Bay of Quinty.
Miss Miedema.
Miss Miedema.
Madame Mingarelli.
Madame Mingarelli.
Miss Naughton.
Miss Navin.
Miss Wien.
Ms. Wien.
Miss O'Rourke.
Ms. O'Rourke.
Mr. Rana.
Mr. Rana.
Miss Royer.
Ms. Roy.
Mr. Saini.
Mr. Saini.
Monsieur Sari.
Mr. Sari.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Mr. Sawatsky.
Miss Sodi.
Miss Sodi.
Monsieur Saint-Pierre.
Mr. St. Pierre.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Miss Tessa Dirksen.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Villeneuve.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Monsieur Watchhorn.
Back to Miss Dillon.
Ms. Dillon.
Monsieur Blanchette.
Monsieur Blanchet.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Brunel-Duceppe.
Monsieur Brunel-Duceppe.
Monsieur Simard.
Monsieur Simard.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Monsieur Deschaines.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Bonin.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Monsieur Savard-Tremblay.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Larouche.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame Gaudreau.
Madame Gaudreau.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Beaulieu.
Monsieur Barcelou-Duval.
Monsieur Barcelot-Duval.
Monsieur Lemire.
Monsieur Lemire.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
Miss Kwan.
Miss Kwan.
Mr. Johns.
Mr. John.
Miss Idlout.
Miss Idlout.
Miss May.
Miss May.
La Chambre.
The House will now wait for the electronic voting period to end before resuming its proceedings.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I had a little glitch and I wasn't able to see the chat, but I do see you off grid wannabe. Follow the money, he says. Let's see. Yeah, there's a little comment there. Got another comment here. Right. But I'm going to just add. Yeah, I've got technical difficulties too. I see Dabra, it says, Dabra Irvin says, hi, all. Welcome, Dabra. But let me get this back up here.
Online, and when he was in person, he actually wasn't even in his seat. I'm wondering if you can let us know if his vote counted twice, what happened there, and how we can ensure this doesn't happen in the future.
All right, that's better. Hey, what happened to the sound?
The electronic vote that will count.
All right. I think we're going. I think we're up and running. Live.
It's
live
not ideal.
streams.
Not ideal.
Always great fun.
The table will now compile the results of the vote.
Yeas pour 137, 137. Nays contre 197, 197.
I declare the motion defeated.
The motion is defeated. Not the one we're looking at. This is.
The House will now proceed to the taking of the deferred recorded division on the motion at second reading stage of Bill C-228 under private members' business. The question is as follows. Monsieur Simard, appuyé par
Mr. Simard, seconded by Mr. Sainte-Marie, moved that Bill C-228 enact to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development Act, prior review of treaties by Parliament, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on International Trade.
La période.
The 10-minute period for members voting electronically has started, and the House will now proceed to the vote. We will start with the sponsor of the item.
Monsieur Simard.
We'll now proceed to members participating. Those at my left in favour of the motion will please rise.
On commence par la 6e rangée.
Sixth row.
On commence par la 6e.
We are starting on the sixth row to my left.
Mr.
Johns.
Miss
What we're
Idlam.
talking about right now is an act to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade.
5e rangée.
Fifth row.
C-228. That's not what we're looking at.
Miss
Today.
Kwan.
We're looking at petition
Ms.
P.
Kwan.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Davies, Vancouver Kingsway.
4e.
Fourth row to my left.
Oh, we might just have to be a little patient, ladies and gentlemen.
Monsieur Barcelou Duval.
Monsieur Barcelou Duval.
Monsieur Blanchet Jonca.
Monsieur Blanchet
Dabra.
Monsieur Lemire.
Monsieur Lemire.
Deborah.
Third row to my left.
Deborah
Monsieur
Urban
Savard
says.
Tremblay.
Monsieur Savard Tremblay.
Madame Larouche.
Madame Larouche.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame de Bellefeuille.
Madame Gaudreau.
Madame Gaudreau.
Deuxième.
Second row to my left.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Champoux.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Perron.
Monsieur Deschênes.
Monsieur Deschênes.
Monsieur Bonnet.
Monsieur Bonnet.
Première.
First row to my left.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Garon.
Monsieur Blanchette.
Monsieur Blanchet.
Monsieur Brunel Duceppe.
Monsieur Brunel Duceppe.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Fortin.
Monsieur Thériault.
Monsieur Thériault.
Tous ceux à
All those at my right in favour of the motion will please rise.
Maybe it's a theme.
Sixth row to my right.
I think it
Fifth row to my right.
might be this thing. Yeah, there it
Miss
is.
May.
That's better, huh?
Fourth row to my right.
That's how you want to show the
Third
comments.
row to my right. Second row to my right. First row to my
I'll
right.
show this comment now from Deborah. They will cut the sound.
All those at my left opposed to the motion will please rise. Sixth row to my left.
Mr. Nader.
Mr. Gouglamine.
Mr. Gouglamine.
Mr. Gunn.
Mr. Gunn.
Monsieur Hardy.
Monsieur Hardy.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Holman.
Mr. Kibble.
Mr. Kibble.
Miss Conant. Mrs. Conant. Miss Cronus.
Miss Cronus.
Mr. Holman. Correction. Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Lawton.
Mr. Mahal.
Mr. Mahal.
Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Rowe.
5e rangée.
Fifth row to my left.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. Lewis Essex.
Mr. McLean, Calgary Centre.
Mr. McLean, Calgary Centre.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Ow.
Mr. Ow.
Mr. Baber.
Mr. Baber.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury-Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt.
Monsieur Bélanger, Sudbury-Est, Manitoulin, Nickelbelt.
Mr. Bonk.
Mr. Bonk.
Mrs. Borelli.
Mrs. Borelli.
Mrs. Cody.
Mrs. Cody.
Deborah says.
Mr. Davies,
Lip
Niagara
readers
South.
wanted.
Mr. Davies, Niagara South.
Mr. Dawson.
Mr. Dawson.
Mrs. DeReader.
Mrs. DeRitter.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Brampton West.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Mr. Gill, Windsor West.
Rangée à ma gauche.
Fourth row to my left.
Mr. Morrison.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Arnold.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mrs. Gallant.
Mr. Vierson.
Mr. Vierson.
Mr. Diot.
Mr. Diot.
Mr.
What that has
Williamson.
to say.
Mr. Williamson.
Mr. Falk Provencher.
Mr. Falk Provencher.
I have
Mr.
invited Fred
Macaulay.
Sanchez.
Mr. Macaulay.
Mr. Menegakis.
Mr.
And
Menegakis.
we're
Mrs.
chatting
Jensen.
over signal.
Mrs. Jensen.
Mr. Bouteille.
His plan
Mr.
was to
Mott.
join
Mr.
me
Dalton.
after
Mr. Dalton. Mr.
the
Doddle.
petition was read.
Mr. Cram. Mr. Tolmie.
Rangé à ma gauche.
Oh, I think
Third row to my left.
Mr. Van Popta.
Mr. Kelly.
Monsieur Généreux.
right. It's a little better because this isn't what we're looking at right now. This is obviously what we're looking at, but it's not the purpose of today's live stream. The purpose of today's live stream is to watch the reading of petition E6679 and to gauge essentially the reaction of the politicians, the members of parliament, to that petition. Because it's not like the petition is going to get read and then everybody's just going to vote on it right then and there. I don't think. But we'll be able to gauge the response of these good people. Well, I've seen a lot of empty seats there. I don't know. Not sure if everybody's turned up today. Nonetheless, hopefully we've got the right time and we've got the right day, and petition E6679 will be read soon. And then we'll see what happens, and we'll gauge the reaction of the members of parliament to it. And what's really going to be interesting is to compare the reaction from the left side of the aisle, if you will, to the right side of the aisle.
Mr. Fanjoy. Mr. Greaves. Miss Harrison. Miss Hurtle. Monsieur Joseph. Monsieur Lavoie.
I'll turn up the volume here so you can hear what they're saying a little better. And then I'll be quiet.
Miss Miedema. Madame Mingarelli. Miss Naughton. Miss Whean. Miss O'Rourke. Mr. Rana. Miss Royer. Mr. Saini. Monsieur Sari. Mr. Sawatsky. Miss Sodi. Mr. Saint-Pierre. Miss Tesser Dirksen. Mr. Villeneuve. Mr. Washorn.
That guy.
Cinquième rangée à ma droite.
Now, right now.
Mr. Baker. Monsieur D'Entremont. Mr. Pawlowski. Monsieur Zubiri. Mr.
Wow,
Yeltsin.
Teresa Morris, where are you located? Starting your day.
Mr.
What I'm
Cotto. Miss Hefner.
Let us know.
Madame Lapointe Sudbury. Mr. Sousa. Miss Akan. Mr. Al Saoud. Madame Auguste. Mr. Chang.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Clark. Mr. Connors. Madame Dandurand. Mr. Danko. Monsieur Deschaines Thériault. Mr. Earl. Miss Fancy.
Quatrième rangée à ma droite.
So, off-grade wannabe, who I've known for a long time.
Madame Desrochers.
Petitions have little
Mrs.
effect
McKelvey.
on proceeding.
Mr. Gasparo. Mr. Hanley. Madame Rochefort. Mr. Casey.
And
Madame Bendayan. Mr. Baptiste.
I'm not
Mr. Klassen. Madame Levac.
I'm not
Monsieur Ramsey.
sure. Let me know
Miss Church.
off-grid whether you mean like literally on the day's proceedings or in the big picture. Will it have any impact on legislation or so on? Because petitions like this have, in fact, borne fruit, bared fruit. What's the past tense on that? They have created law. I don't know if, in truth, I don't know if the law's been completely passed, but it has had an impact in is it Wales, where they've done something similar. Fed Sanchez he'll be here hopefully in a moment, and he'll be able to clarify that. I think it's Wales. Started off as a petition, became a committee, and then essentially, my understanding is a law or a motion. I guess it's a motion has, or one of those like not quite a law, not a motion, but not quite a law. Things have been passed that requires Parliament to pass a law. So they have to pass a law now on this issue, on the issue of a political honesty approach, some way of ensuring that members of Parliament are honest in their statements inside and outside of Parliament. In truth, again, I'm not entirely certain that it's inside Parliament, interestingly enough, but it could possibly be just outside Parliament, and especially on social media, which is really important.
Mr. Wilkinson.
The House will now wait for the electronic voting period to
Off-grid says, although it is our right. It is our right, and we must exercise that right. And Teresa says, West Coast of USA. Yes, you are pretty much nocturnal. I mean, so are you three? I'm Eastern Standard Time, so it's 3:41 right now. Is it like 12:41? Or is it 11:41 on the West Coast? Let us know, Teresa. Is it 11:41? I hope it is. I hope you're starting. I'd rather you be starting your day at 11:41 than 12:41. Let me know. Deborah says, they are learning from the mistakes of the United States of America, I take it. Very smart indeed. If this could happen here, it could happen anywhere, probably. So, yeah, well, as a matter of fact, yes, Donald Trump is pretty much singularly responsible for this petition. I know that because the fellow who is the architect of petition E6679 has been on my show for a couple of interviews. You can see those interviews on my various channels, or at least, I know, like, I don't think I put the whole interviews up on Instagram or whatever, but anyways, you can see those interviews with Fed Sanchez. He is the architect of petition E6679. And if I were to just kind of summarize the basic idea, at least the idea that Fed is kind of alluding to when he refers to the political honesty petition in Wales. I think it's Wales. Political honesty. So the idea of it is a model. Yeah, here it is. Yes, Senedd. Yeah. Welsh. Sorry, I said, well, yeah, Wales. Welsh. So the Welsh Parliament. The Welsh Parliament. Why can't I? There it is. Let's see. Can I? Maybe. I don't want to risk getting off of this, but yeah, Wales. They've got this model for political honesty that they're pursuing, and their model.
Speaker, I would like to register my vote as nay.
Oh, okay. So their model. I'm just going to turn this volume down a little bit. Where is it? There it is.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to vote no as well.
Lots of no votes on this. An act to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs Trade. Still C228? Okay. Anyways, keep trying to get this thought out. So the model that Fed Sanchez just suggested our parliament look at, which is the Welsh model, would essentially create a rating system for various members of parliament and their statements. So think of it as like ratings that you see on LinkedIn or Amazon, Home Stars. So if a politician makes a statement, nothing automatically happens. But if somebody out in the public says, hey, wait a minute, that statement isn't true, then they can write a little review, if you will, kind of like Home Stars or LinkedIn, more to the point, as Fed and I have discussed before, kind of like the Better Business Bureau. If you have a complaint about a particular statement, then you can register your complaint, and then that complaint goes back to the person, and then they have an option to essentially defend what they said, say, no, technically this is true, or kind of amend it and retract their statement. Say, okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke there. I didn't realize whatever. I'll retract my statement. And that all leads to essentially a review system of various politicians, and then you'd be able to look at their history of the statements they've made and how often their statements elicit complaints, and then how those complaints are resolved. So a pretty neat idea. Like, it's a pretty neat model. I like it. Now I got some comments to catch up. Oh yeah, so Teresa says, I was trying to think of what's the past tense of bear? Born, bared, have proven to bear fruit. That's a good way. That's a good way of getting it. And Deborah says, Parliament needs to go after the school districts. Seems they have been buying so many bonds, they are now in default. And guess who's holding the debt? Really? Wow. What kind of bonds? What kind of bonds are they buying, Deborah? I'd like to know more about that.
Pursuant to Standing Order 83.1, I'd like to table in both official languages a notice of Ways and Means motion for a bill entitled An Act to Give Effect to the Red River Métis Self-Government Recognition and Implementation Treaty, and to make consequential amendments to other acts. Pursuant to Standing Order 83.2, I'd like to request an order of the day be designated for the consideration of this motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Nicely read indeed, but that's not what we're waiting for. That's not petition E679.
Introduction of government bills. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Revenue. Oh.
Yes,
Mr. Champagne,
Teresa
seconded by Ms. McKnight.
We are learning from the mistakes of the U.S. and
a bill entitled
so, as I was saying, I've interviewed Fed a couple of times, and he is unequivocal about what inspired him to create the political honesty petition, and it was Donald Trump and all his nonsense about Canada, wanting Canada to be the 51st state. I'll turn this volume down a little bit here. So his theory was the states probably wouldn't try to do it militarily, but would try to utilize propaganda and misinformation. So he wanted to create, to put in place a system that would create a guardrail against that. So, smart idea. Smart idea. And somebody said, Deborah's 3 hours behind us. So, Deborah, it's 12:48 over there. Not bad. Not too late in the day.
Of Senate public bills. Presenting petitions.
Off-grid says, don't get me wrong, if the petition is brought forward by more than one member, it may have more effect. Has a good number of signatures. Where did we leave it? I think the hope was to see if it could get to 40,000 signatures, but I think it just was shy of that. Let me see if I can give you an update. So according to Fed's last, it got over 40. It got 44,869 signatures. Not bad. Not too shabby for a government petition. Oh, what's this?
Criminal Code of Canada. Bill C9 would allow the state to prosecute $1 million.
Oh, what am I doing? What have I done? What have I done? I'm just going to refresh this. Sorry.
is on behalf of residents in Mission Matsqui, Abbotsford, who are deeply concerned about the proposed expansion of medical assistance in dying to individuals whose sole underlying condition is a mental illness. My constituents fear that expanding MAID in this way risks normalizing suicide as a response to mental illness. They believe instead that Canada should prioritize and strengthen mental health supports. The third petition I would like to present today is on GST and HST in the context of physical education, specifically dance education, which provides significant physical, mental, and emotional health benefits, including improved fitness, self-confidence, and resilience, contributing to the overall well-being of Canadians. These Canadians are calling on the Government of Canada to remove GST from instructional dance classes that meet formal educational criteria and align with the existing GST exemption for music instruction.
Fair enough.
And the last petition I would like to present today.
Oh, petition. Is this it? I don't think this is the guide.
The last petition I would like to present today, Madam Speaker, and you will note my brevity for each one, is on behalf of citizens of Abbotsford in honor of Darshan Sassi, who lost his life a few months ago. These residents are calling upon the Government of Canada to reinforce the process of public reporting so Canadians can clearly see how federal, provincial, and local governments are working together to prevent further increases in violent and organized crime. And Madam Speaker, it's always a pleasure to rise and present petitions constructively.
Honourable Member for Edmonton Grisba.
Madam Speaker, today I rise to present a petition signed by my constituents in Edmonton Grisba. This petition highlights the 26-year persecution of the Falun Gong practitioners in China. My constituents say this persecution has included torture, killings, and forced organ harvesting. Petitioners call on the federal government to take urgent action to end these abuses and to protect a community targeted by foreign repression. I'm pleased to bring this critical matter forward.
What the heck is going on?
For Ottawa West Nepean. Madam Mayor.
Speaker, I rise to present petition E6827. In the context of the forthcoming elections in Bangladesh, the petitioners call on the Government of Canada to call for cessation of and accountability for human rights violations, political persecution, religiously motivated violence, illegal detentions, and extrajudicial killings. The petitioners are asking for internationally monitored, free and fair elections with the participation of all political parties. And finally, they call on Canada to support diplomatic and multilateral efforts to restore peace, democratic governance, and rule of law in Bangladesh. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
True.
The Honourable, the Honourable Member for
I'm saying true to Deborah's comment here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to present a petition from Canadians concerned about Bill C-9. Faith, as you know, Madam Speaker, is a matter of conscience, and the petitioners are worried that the state is interfering with their religious texts and teachings, will impinge on religious freedom, and lead to government overreach in matters of faith. They're calling on this House to prevent government interference in faith, religious belief, and practice. Thank you very much.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member for Similkin in South Okanagan, West Kootenay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm presenting this petition on behalf of Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay. Petitioners are saying that they have a right to free speech, right to religion, and freedom of expression, and they're concerned that the amendments to Bill C-9 presented by Liberals and Bloc are going to be used to criminalize passages from the Torah, the Quran, the Bible. They're asking us to withhold, they're asking the government to withhold the right to read and share these sacred texts.
Bravo. Member for Courtney Albany.
Did she say withhold or uphold?
Present e-petition 6795, which is sponsored by Chloe Dubois from Ocean Legacy Foundation. Madam Speaker, she rises in this petition that's been signed by 659 Canadians who are deeply concerned about ghost gear, Madam Speaker, abandoned, lost, or discarded fishing gear that is amongst the most deadliest sources of plastic pollution.
I would agree
with that. She's concerned, Madam Speaker, that the Liberal government killed this very important program. And they note that ghost gear kills fish, marine animals, species like wild salmon, seabirds, turtles, damages habitat, creates microplastics and even hazards navigation and active harvesters, which hurts coastal communities, Madam Speaker, our way of life and our economy. They point out that the dedicated funding for retrieval, prevention, repair, and recycling works, creating skilled jobs and partnerships with Indigenous communities,
idea.
small business,
We should
coastal
have
people,
more than 600
fishers,
and
harbour authorities,
whatever,
and recyclers,
49 signatures.
especially in rural and remote areas. And she's calling for the government to reinstate and expand a permanent multi-year ghost gear fund with streams for rapid retrieval response, prevention, and innovation, including gear marking, tracking, and whale-safe rope pilots, end-of-life management, repair and recycling, and community capacity and Indigenous guardian programs. Thank you,
Even
Madam
ghost
Speaker.
gear.
To the honourable member, a short
Collect your
summary
gear.
of the petition. The honourable member for Nanaimo, Lady Smith. I'm sorry for sexual violence.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are neighbours. I rise today to present a petition of deep concern to many constituents. As Canadians from coast to coast know, we have a housing crisis. I'll be as short as I can, Madam Speaker. The petitioners call on the Government of Canada to expedite and focus on immediate help for people who can't afford to get a roof over their head, particularly by getting rid of real estate investment trusts and corporate ownership of housing units as investment properties. They also call on the government to focus on more support for co-op housing and other forms of more accessible shared housing arrangements. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, about a year ago, I was like
Madam Speaker,
drafting
I rise today to present a petition on behalf
legislation
of Canadians who call on the
to
government
make
to
that the case.
withdraw
It should
Bill
be illegal.
C-9. Canadians feel religion is under attack and ask the government to respect and protect religious freedom and freedom of speech as fundamental rights that Canadians expect Parliament to uphold, as the state has no place in the religious texts or teachings of any faith community.
Bravo. The honourable member for Niagara South.
Speaker, I rise to present a petition on Bill C-9. Canadians are concerned about the erosion of religious freedoms as contained in this legislation. They're also concerned that governments are intruding on faith. These petitioners are calling for the withdrawal of C-9, and they're pleased to present these views on behalf of the many proud Canadians who signed it.
Hear, hear. Honourable member for York Durham.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm presenting a
what's happening in
petition
the
from
States,
concerned
right?
Canadians today, and they are concerned about the Liberal government's assault on freedom of expression and freedom of religion contained in Bill C-9, and particularly the Bloc and Liberal amendment to remove protections for people of faith to have open discussions about truth in this country. Madam Speaker, the petitioners remind the government that it has no place policing the religious texts of Canadians of faith and ask that the government withdraw Bill C-9.
Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to present two petitions. The first is from Canadians who are profoundly concerned about the government's plan to expand medical assistance in dying to those whose sole underlying condition is a mental illness. The petitioners make their position clear. They state that mental illness is by nature treatable and recovery is possible. They warn that expanding MAID in these circumstances risks normalizing the idea that those struggling with mental illness should be offered assisted dying instead of suicide prevention treatment. Therefore, the petitioners call upon Parliament to adopt Bill C-218, ensuring that mental illness is not classified as a grievous and irremediable condition for the purposes of MAID. The second petition is from Canadians who are expressing great concern about the assault on religious freedom and freedom of expression contained in Bill C-9, which removes the long-standing good faith safeguards for religious expression, raising the risk that Canadians could face investigation for expressing sincerely held beliefs on a religious subject or for citing certain religious text. The petitioners remind the government, and particularly the Liberal members and Bloc members, that freedom of religion and expression are listed as fundamental freedoms in our Charter. Therefore, the petitioners ask the government to withdraw Bill C-9, protect the freedom of religion for all Canadians, so they can discuss their faith and share their religious texts in the public square without a fear of government investigation.
The honourable member for Sarnia, Lambton, Vidreka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm bringing a petition today from constituents that are concerned about the Liberal Bloc amendment to C-9 that was passed at Justice Committee that removes the good faith religious defence clause from the Criminal Code of Canada, allowing the government to criminalize passages from the Bible, Quran, Torah, and other sacred texts, resulting in punishment of up to 2 years in prison. They are calling on the government to withdraw C-9 and to protect protect religious freedom, uphold the right to read and share sacred texts, and prevent government intrusion into their faith. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Simcoe Gray.
This is a very
Thank you,
interesting
Madam
topic,
Speaker.
I
I'm
will
pleased
admit.
to rise on a petition from the great residents of Simcoe Gray and more specifically Clearview Township. This will be the first of many petitions. The Department of National Defence has purchased 700 plus
that makes
acres of
more
prime
sense,
farmland
Deborah. That makes more
overlapping the
sense.
menacing wetlands to build a
Both could have made sense.
preliminary Arctic over-the-horizon radar system in Clearview Township. And DND has now sent emails out to many of those surrounding it and won an additional 2,600 acres of prime farmland to create this site. We, the undersigned citizens of Canada, call upon the Government of Canada to stop the building of any over-the-horizon site on the already purchased property, prevent future acquisitions of the prime farmland and building of any over-the-horizon site on the prime farmland in Clearview Township, and register the previously purchased property with the Ontario Farmland Trust to prepare its agricultural status. People are concerned, people are worried, they don't want to be expropriated. Many of the townships are supporting this that are in the area. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Presenting petitions, the honourable member for Winnipeg North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a pleasure for me to rise today with people that have signed a petition, in particular from Winnipeg North, that really have emphasized how Canada's Indo-Canadian community has grown, and those that have a high interest in being able to travel to India. And what they're asking for is to see how we can increase the number of international flights that go directly, in particular from Winnipeg, but specifically from Canada, going over into Europe. So whether it's the government or our airport authorities, to do what they can to increase the number of international flights. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a great privilege to rise on behalf of Canadians and many of them in my riding, raising very severe concerns with the way that the Liberal government is, through Bill C-9, attacking the religious freedoms of Canadians. The petitioners who have signed this are concerned in particular about the Liberal amendment, or the amendment adopted by Liberal members of Parliament that would remove long-standing protections for religious speech. And petitioners are calling on the government to withdraw this divisive and toxic Bill C-9 to stand up for the fundamental freedoms of Canadians. Thank you.
Presenting petitions. Okay.
So we're looking
questions
for
on the order
Kareem
for the Honourable Parliament Secretary to the Government
Ardeezy.
House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I'd ask that all questions be allowed to stand at this time, please.
Agreed. Notice of motions for the production of papers. The Honourable Parliament Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Again, Madam Speaker, I would ask that all notices of motions for the production of papers also be allowed to stand at this time, please.
Agreed.
I'm not sure what that means.
Demande de débat d'urgence.
I request for an emergency debate.
Vancouver Kingsway.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to request an emergency debate on the recently deeply concerning actions and statements by the Trump administration that have grave implications for the sovereignty and security of Canada. On January 3rd, President Trump ordered American forces to disregard international law and core principles of national sovereignty by attacking Venezuela, a UN member state. This aggression was followed by President Trump's announcement of a Monroe Doctrine, considering the entire Western Hemisphere to be within the sole hegemonic control of the United States. On January 18, President Trump expressed his intent to seize Greenland, a territory of Denmark, another UN member state, and importantly, a NATO member. He justified this aggression by referencing Greenland's Arctic proximity, mineral reserves, and inadequate defense capacity. These actions and words have direct application to Canada. They follow repeated and continuing threats made to Canada since Donald Trump became president. They are occurring on a daily basis right up to this moment. There is a wide consensus among observers, policy experts, and stakeholders from across the political spectrum in Canada, from Jason Kenney to Bob Rae, that our country is vulnerable as a result. It is vital that members of Parliament be afforded an opportunity to speak to these important and urgent matters which profoundly affect our sovereignty, security, and place in the world. I ask that this emergency debate be approved and conducted forthwith tonight.
I thank the honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway for his intervention. However, the Speaker is not satisfied that this request meets the requirements of the standing orders at this time. Orders of the day.
This is just a note from me.
Orders of the day. Government orders, government bills, commons. Consideration at second reading of Bill C-18, Canada-Indonesia Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement Implementation Act.
Mr. Cito, Brampton East, seconded by Ms. McKnight, moves that Bill C-18, an act to implement the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between Canada and Indonesia, be now read a second time and referred to the Standing Committee on International Trade. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I seek unanimous consent to share my time with the member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Does the honourable member have unanimous consent? Agreed. Thank you. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today with pride and conviction to speak in support of Bill C-18, legislation that will bring into force the Canada-Indonesia Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement.
About that,
this is a consequential moment for Canada, a moment to choose engagement over hesitation, diversification over dependence, and action over rhetoric. It's a moment to demonstrate that Canada understands the economic realities of the 21st century and is prepared to act decisively in response to them. The global economy is changing, not gradually, but structurally. Growth is no longer concentrated in a small number of advanced economies. It is shifting towards the Indo-Pacific, towards emerging markets, towards economies with expanding middle classes, increasing infrastructure investments, and growing demand for food, energy, manufactured goods, and services. Canada cannot afford to be passive in this environment. That is why our new government is leaning forward. We are all in for Canada, Madam Speaker. Our economy, our workers, and our communities require foresight and deliberate action. Bill C-18 represents exactly that, a strategic decision to ensure Canadian businesses and workers are positioned to compete in the markets that will define future growth, and Indonesia is central to that story. With a population exceeding 275 million potential consumers, Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world and one of the largest economies in Southeast Asia. It is a country undergoing rapid urbanization, industrialization, and income growth. Its middle class is expanding by millions every single year. Demand is rising for food, raw materials, infrastructure inputs, clean technology, and professional services, areas where Canada has both capacity and global credibility. Today, trade between Canada and Indonesia is roughly $6.7 billion in goods and services annually. Yet, despite that volume, Canadian exporters continue to face tariffs that put them at a disadvantage compared to competitors who are already enjoying preferential access. That is precisely what Bill C-18 changes. Under this agreement, Indonesia will eliminate or reduce tariffs on nearly 86% of tariff lines, covering almost all current Canadian exports. That's right. Madam Speaker, these are not symbolic reductions. They are commercially meaningful changes that affect pricing, competitiveness, and long-term investment decisions. And let me be clear about what that means. In agriculture, Indonesian tariffs on Canadian products such as wheat, barley, pulses, and oilseeds will be reduced or eliminated entirely. Indonesia is one of the world's largest importer of wheat and Canadian grain, which is valued for its quality and reliability. Eliminating tariffs ensures Canadian farmers compete on product excellence. That matters to producers in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba. But it also matters to rail workers, port operators, processors, and exporters across Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, who are part of that supply chain. In agri-food and processed foods, tariff reductions improve access for value-added products that support jobs, not only on farms, but in processing plants, logistics hubs, and other value-add services. These are jobs that sustain rural communities and urban communities alike, including communities like
the
Brampton
MP
East,
who we're waiting
while
for,
strengthening
Kareem
food
Barty's
security
the
at
MP
home
for
and abroad. In fish and
Icon?
seafood, Indonesia currently applies tariffs of up to 15% on products such as
Parkdale
lobster,
and Hyde
salmon,
Park.
scallops, and crab. Under this agreement, those tariffs will be eliminated and phased out. For fish harvesters and processors in Newfoundland and Labrador, Nova Scotia, PEI, British Columbia, and Quebec, this translates directly into
only
improved
buy
margins,
organic.
stronger export volumes, and greater stability in seasonal employment. In forestry and wood products, tariff reductions will enhance competitiveness for Canadian softwood, pulp and paper products used in Indonesia's expanding
What
construction
Fred
and
has to
packaging
say here.
sectors. These benefits will flow directly to forestry communities in British Columbia, Quebec, Ontario, and New Brunswick. In manufacturing, this agreement will reduce tariffs on industrial goods,
So
such
Fed-
as machinery, automotive parts, aerospace components, chemicals, and fabricated metals.
News for Ontario.
Fed
For
says
manufacturers in
that
Southern
they did
Ontario,
not
Quebec,
read it. It
Alberta, and
looks like the
Manitoba, this
MP
means
missed
the
a
ability to
stamp
bid
on
into
a
projects and
document
supply
or
chains
something.
in Southeast Asia without pricing themselves out of contention. In clean technology and environmental services, the agreement supports Canadian firms working in renewable energy, emissions reductions, water treatment, and sustainable infrastructure. As Indonesia invests billions in energy transition and climate resilience, Canadian companies gain predictable, rules-based access to the market. Madam Speaker, this
Yes.
agreement is particularly important for small and
an organic
medium-sized
apple a
businesses.
day keeps the
Large
doctor away.
multinational firms can absorb tariffs. Small businesses
I think I've
often
eaten
cannot.
like 2
For
apples
them,
today.
even a 5% duty can be the difference between entering a market or staying out of it. Eliminating tariffs reduces upfront risks, improves cash flows, and allows smaller Canadian firms to plan multi-year export strategies and hire new staff to turn plans into production. This is what trade diversification looks like in practice. This is why it matters now more than ever. Your new government has committed to doubling Canada's non-U.S. exports over the next decade. Bill C-18 is a concrete step towards that goal. Trade is not a simple concept. Trade is people. It's skilled tradespeople seeing consistent demand. It is plant workers and technicians benefiting from expanded production. It is port workers, inspectors, and transportation professionals
ladies
handling
and
growing
gentlemen,
volumes of
Fed
Canadian goods.
Sanchez,
These are resilient, productive
who
jobs that anchor communities.
is
Canada's
the
primary
author
producers are a vital part of the story, and the message we have received is
of
clear.
Petition
They support
E6679.
Cereals Canada has called the conclusion of this agreement a significant
He's pretty certain
milestone
that
and
the
praised
time
the
for reading petitions has passed today.
creating new opportunities for Canadians.
And he thinks that
Support resonates in provinces like Saskatchewan, Alberta,
perhaps
and
it was
Manitoba, where
Mr.
grain production
Bardisi
supports farm families,
or somebody,
transport workers,
some
exporters,
staffer,
related
somebody
industries.
forgot to check a
Strengthen supply
box,
chains that reach
stamp,
Ontario,
stamp.
Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, connecting
Some.
communities through stable
And it
jobs
doesn't
and
look like the
increased
petition is going to get read
activity.
today after all that,
Securing markets in Indonesia, Canadian farmers gain predictability,
because this would
allowing
have
them to
been the
plan for
most
multi-year
awaited,
harvests, invest in sustainable farming practices,
probably
and
the most
contribute to
awaited
food security both domestically
event
and globally.
in Parliament
It
today,
also
I would say,
reinforces
because
Canada's reputation
like I
as a
said,
dependable supplier of
44,000 Canadians signed this petition. You heard another petition. It was a pretty good one that was presented today. It had like 649 signatures. This one has like 44,500 signatures. Canadians kind of know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and they're tired of politicians engaging in misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, and they'd like to do something about it.
In the protein and manufacturing sectors, the Canadian Meat Council and the Canadian Pork Council have described this
I'll
agreement
see if
as a landmark opportunity to expand Canada's presence in the Indo-Pacific.
so.
It is
I might
clear that
just.
when acted decisively, the benefits ripple across sectors.
I mean, I'd hate to stop the live stream and
It
then
positions Canadian processors and manufacturers to invest
and then
confidently,
learn that
knowing that the rules
they,
of trade
you
are
know,
clear,
things just got a bit out of order.
and fair. Madam Speaker, through you, I want to speak directly to this chamber.
Who's the
I
snob?
believe
Deborah says, "What a
profoundly in
snob."
this agreement. I believe in the leadership of Prime
Where-
Minister
where are
in
you?
advancing Canada's role
Where's
on the
me?
global
Oh.
stage. I believe in this
There it
government's
is.
conviction that Canada must
Who's a
engage,
snob?
diversify, and lead to
This guy?
secure long-term prosperity. And I believe in Canadians, the entrepreneurs,
Maninder?
workers, and
Manny?
innovators who turn
Manny Sidhu?
opportunity
Is that who you're
results.
talking about?
But colleagues across the aisle do not have to take my word for it. The value of this agreement is being affirmed by the Canadians who will put it to work every
Now, Deborah
day.
points out, wanted to read it to begin with.
Small businesses,
They are there because they are all controlled. Stop believing in the smoke blowers.
Parliament to act.
Yeah,
Choosing
one
not
does
to act
wonder.
is a decision.
Like, seriously.
Delaying is a decision. Hesitation is a decision. And in fact, moving global economy, those decisions carry consequences. Other countries are moving.
You think about things like the Epstein files, for example. They did manage to pass a law that says you must release all the files, and then they just don't.
Compete on a level playing field. It ensures
That's
Canadian
the
businesses
difference
are
between a
positioned
government
for a long-term
administration and a
success.
regime.
And it ensures Canada
If the
remains
law
a
doesn't
reliable,
apply to them,
rules-based
it's a
partner.
regime.
This agreement
If
is not
everything
just
they
a
do is
document,
just to
it is
uphold
the
the
breakthrough
power
in Canadian ambition with global demand.
of the
We
regime,
are
then
not
it's a
alone with
regime.
Indonesia. We are deepening engagement across the Indo-Pacific.
You know
We
what
are
I'm saying?
building new partnerships. We are opening new markets. We are securing Canada's place
Yeah.
in the fastest growing region of the global economy.
Yeah.
Because leadership means acting. Because prosperity means building. Because Canada's future will not be shaped by standing still. It will be shaped by stepping forward. Bill C-18 is a statement of confidence in Canada, confidence in our workers, confidence in our businesses, and confidence in our future. Madam Speaker, we are all in for Canada. Thank you very much.
Questions and comments. Honourable member for Simcoe North.
Yes, I see what you mean, Deborah.
Thank you very much.
Although we're just
Madam
guessing.
Speaker,
We're
nice
just
to see you,
kind
Chair,
of guessing what
and
happened.
Thank my honourable colleague for those words and bringing to this chamber a bill that on its face may receive some positive reviews from our side, but we'll have to wait to hear and see this bill and examine it at committee. But the minister mentioned rules-based trade. I wondered if he would state for this House whether he agrees with the Prime Minister who said the rules-based trading system is dead, or whether he agrees with the President of the EU Central Bank, the former IMF chair, and the former Minister of Finance of France, who said that she does not agree with the Canadian Prime Minister.
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, through you, I'd like to thank the member for his question, for his important work on the Trade Committee, and of course, as my critic. It's an important time. The member opposite mentioned the Prime Minister. We've been clear with Canadians since the very start. Just over 8 months ago, during the election, we promised Canadians that we'd be out there diversifying our trading partners,
Yes.
along with the speech from the throne. And in our budget, we're making record
100%.
level investments. We're opening doors. This is what it's going to take to ensure our economic resilience, to ensure that Canadians have opportunities around the world. And so Canada is seen as a reliable trading partner. And that's why the calls that we're getting is we want to do more with Canada. We want to do more with Canadian workers. We want to do more with Canadian farmers. And so we're going to be there to continue opening doors for our workers and for our farmers. Thank you.
L'honorable député.
The honourable member for Salaberry.
Deborah says they will do anything to keep you engaged.
Thank you very
in the
much, Madam
BS.
Speaker.
I suppose you're right.
I appreciated my colleague's speech, but the question I would like to ask, yes, this agreement allows us to diversify our trade markets, but it doesn't seem to be moderate enough, this agreement, because it didn't take account at all of the ban on forced work or the violation of human rights in supply chains. It doesn't take account of these at all. And I think Canada, which is more progressive in this area, well, should they not take these factors into account with new agreements, particularly in terms of human rights and violation of them, and also forced labor? Why did the government choose to exclude these or from the agreement or not make it a requirement?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you, with respect to human rights, labor, and environment, remain at the heart of our trade policies and our high standard trade agreements. Canada is deliberate and mindful when negotiating trade agreements, and we prioritize Canadian values, protecting workers' values, protecting workers' right environmental standards. Madam Speaker, building new trading partners around the world is an important driver to promote economic security for Canada. And if you look at how trade drives our economy, 2/3 of our economy is powered by international trade. Millions of jobs are directly related to international trade. And so we have to continue to be out there knocking on those doors, getting these type of agreements done.
All right, so
to
I
build
have
on our
heard
free trade
back
agreements.
from
Thank
Fed.
you, Madam Speaker.
Good answer.
And
Questions et commentaires.
Questions and comments?
L'honorable député, l'honorable.
And Fed is saying, let me just see what's happening.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to thank the Minister of International Trade for this bill, and I'd also like to
that's not Kareem
underscore all of
Bardisi.
the work that was done by the Prime Minister
right.
and his team to develop.
So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, Fed says he's quite upset about the fact that petition E6679, which he's been essentially living and breathing, for a year, I think. If I'm reading this right, I think he launched this petition in January of last year. January 14th, possibly. So it's been kind of an all-consuming endeavor for Fed Sanchez. Again, check out a couple of the interviews on my channel with Fed. And so Fed was going to pop on with me after it was read, and we were going to discuss it. But for some reason, it did not get read today. And this is, of course, after, weeks of saying, it's going to get read on this day. And then it kind of got moved. I forget when it was first going to be read. And then it got moved to today. Actually, it got moved to yesterday. And then it got moved to today. And now Fed says it will be next week. The MP can't do it until next week now. So as I've said to Fed, hey, that's more lead time. That's more lead time, more time I'm just going to stop this here, more time for us to contact our MPs and get them on board with petition E6679. Let me see if I can replace this with this no, not this one. This. So now if I click off of this, I just want to show you the tool on this website. Now where we're at right now, what I'm showing you is politicalhonesty.ca, politicalhonesty.ca. And Fed has set up a great tool on here to help you. Let's see. Yeah. I'm not quite showing it here, but I've clicked on a menu and there was an option that says email your MP. And this is what it looks like. So you can put in your postal code and it will find your MP. We'll just click on that here. Okay. So you can find your MP. It'll locate your MP. You select the party of your MP. Not the party you support as a person, but you select the party of the MP. Let me do this. Let's see what petition this would be. Interesting. Well, let's click on this person here, just as an example. It shows where they sit, and it shows that they are a conservative. So if they're conservative, then, yes, I see once, as soon as I got off of that page, you're no longer watching what I'm doing. Right. So I'll go back to here. So let's say you found a conservative MP, then you select the topics that you would like to see in your letter, and you'd like, you want to include the polite introduction, maybe click, provide a summary of petition E6679, talk about provably false statements, talk about, this is something that Fed loves to hammer on, is that intent doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter whether they know they're being, untruthful. Talk about the damage to society, mention the Welsh initiative, provide a polite ending, and look at that. It creates that email for you. And of course, you could get in here. I certainly did. And I reworded things. I added little pieces and so on. And then you can copy to your clipboard, and bing, bang, bong. You've got a nice little letter for your MP. And then you can just very quickly email it. I actually printed it off and hand delivered it to my MP's office. I spoke to a staffer. My MP wasn't there, but that's what I did. But you can very easily you can see in a matter of seconds, ladies and gentlemen, seconds, you could create kind of an original email And of course, this tool will also help you find, it'll, with your, all you need is your postal code, and you will find your member of parliament, and you will learn their email address too. So you find your member of parliament, you get their email, you create the letter, copy it to the clipboard, paste it in an email, off it goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have more lead time now. Fed is upset that it didn't get read, but I texted him and I said, hey, upside is we have more lead time, even more lead time, to get more Canadians to get behind this petition, to make their members of parliament aware of it, with Fed's terrific letter writing tool here on politicalhonesty.ca. Let's see if I make this big screen. Can you see the whole website? Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. You can't quite, I mean, that kind of is weird. What if I do now? No. Yeah, so I don't know. Oh, it's because, is this because I have the window narrow? Let me see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, if I do this. Oh, goodness, all kinds of crazy things. Okay, so no, it doesn't make it wider. Yeah, that's interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm learning more and more about how to use this streaming platform. But yeah, great tool. Go to politicalhonesty.ca, ladies and gentlemen, and use the letter writing tool. You'll find it in the upper right-hand corner. No, actually, sorry, you'll find it right here. Right here. See there? Email your MP. Email your MP. I don't know what's going on there where it's getting wider and narrower, but email your MP, and then there's the tool. So let's use this lead time. It won't be read apparently, or it can't be read until next week. Will it be read next week? We don't know, but hopefully it will. But we have more time to contact our MPs. So let's take advantage of it. If you believe in political honesty, if you don't want a whole bunch of crazy maniacs running around saying the nonsense that we're hearing in the United States, where you can see with your own eyes, plain as day, folks like Renee Good, and is it Alex Preddy, who essentially have become, Alex Preddy and Renee Good, who have essentially become martyrs, I suppose, for freedom and democracy and resistance. Yeah. But anyways, so you can see with your own eyes. I should show myself here. I'm talking to you, right? You can see with your own eyes, ladies and gentlemen, these folks getting gunned down by essentially just gangs, like lawless gangs. And of course they're lawless gangs. I mean, J.D. Vance out and out said the law doesn't apply to them. Kristi Noem. Well, we get our funding from different source, so the law doesn't apply. The exact same playbook as the Nazis in 1930s Germany. So, if we want to protect ourselves against nonsense like that, we need a strong law against misinformation and disinformation flowing from our politicians. We cannot allow them to be untruthful with the Canadian public. And that's why I'm such a huge supporter of Petition E6679. I really want to see this process all the way through. And I want to be able to tell the story. Like, I remember when that was just a petition. It's the law now. Nobody believed it would happen, but it's law now. And we no longer have to listen to morons like Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Kristi Noem. Just lie. Bold-faced lie. How do they do it? I guess, I don't know. Your guess is good as mine. Are they sociopaths? Are they psychopaths? Are they whatever? I don't know. I'm not saying it makes you a psycho if you lie. You know, I've lied the odd time, you know, where like eating my grandmother's whatever stuffing, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I like it. And but it's got that kind of spice in it that tastes like soap, and I don't really like it. Whatever. But anyways, these are completely different things where you see folks like Alex Preddy being essentially executed, face down on the ground, shot in the back several times after they remove his gun from his waist holster. He never had a hand on it. We can just see it. Anyways, and then they go, oh, he was attacking them. So, you know, to preserve the peace and to protect the people in the area, they executed him. I digress. So, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want this kind of nonsense up here in Canada. So, contact your MP. It just takes a few seconds. Go to politicalhonesty.ca. Use the letter writing tool. Find your member of parliament. Find their email. Use the letter writing tool to draft a nice original letter and send it off. And until then, I might have a few live streams between now and the reading of this petition, but whenever it is, I will try to have a live stream and we can watch it together and see how the members of parliament react to the reading of this petition. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a good one.